Welcome back to The Author's Edge. I am your host, Allison Lane, and I'm here because I want you to get your work and your message into the world in the way that works for you. Whether you're already an author working on your book or your book is just noodling around in your head, the first step is being able to answer two questions. There are two questions every author needs to be ready for. They show up in every interview, every podcast, every panel, every book talk. Most authors treat them like small talk, but they're not. These questions are visibility tools. When you answer them well, you are clear and confident about what people want to know about you. And today, I'm going to walk you through how to answer both questions in a way that actually builds your authority. We're also going to talk about how to use these as an anchor for everything you do. If you don't have strong anchor messaging, grab my free Essential Author Bio package at lanelit.com/package. It'll save you from rambling ever again. Let's get to it. Here's why these two questions matter. Most authors think interviews are about information. They're not. They're about positioning, and they're about showing people why your work and your book matters to them and why you are the person they've been looking for. These two questions are your chance to make your message, your insights, your story connect with people. Question number one, tell us about your book. You would think this is a landmine. It's not, but somehow it becomes that. This place where authors start summarizing their entire plots, naming every character or every research study, explaining backstory that no one asked for. This is not a place you want to be. When you start explaining all the contents of your book, then no one needs your book anymore. And they don't understand how the book relates to them. I've seen many brilliant authors talk for 5 minutes and never say one thing the listener needed. Here's the fix. Answer in 10 to 20 seconds and hit 3 things clearly. What's it about? Who's it for? And what do people walk away with? The book is about this. It's for people who fill in the blank so that they walk away with fill in the blank. It's pretty simple, but you have to plan this ahead. If we were going to talk about ADHD for Smartass Women, written by my client, Tracy Otsuka, if we asked her, what is your book about? She would say, ADHD for Smartass Women helps women understand their ADHD with clarity and strength and even humor. This is for anyone who feels unstoppable, but also overwhelmed. You'll walk away knowing how your brain works, what makes you powerful, and how to build systems that finally support you. She didn't go into chapter 7, ADHD and relationships. Nobody wants you to dive that deep, but simple, direct, and elevated. This is the same clarity you share in your author bio. Your first line should answer the question, what does she write about? That's why your bio needs to say exactly what you write about, who you write for, and what people walk away with. If you don't have that yet, go and download the free resource I have, the Essential Author Bio package at lanelit.com/package. It gives you 7 ready-to-use formats, so you're never guessing. I did hear someone really fumble this question recently. It was so cringy. Here's what happened. At a recent event, a women in publishing event, I did the keynote, and afterward, one of the organizers was going around to authors who weren't speakers and asking them, what is your book about? And I heard an author say something that shut everyone's interest down. It was so notable that I wrote it down because I don't want you to do this. She was asked, what is your book about? She took a big gulp of air and she said, ooh, that's hard. Really? It is not calculus. You're in charge of your book. You need to know what it's about, because if you don't know what it's about and we have to listen to you ramble, then Not only are we not interested, it looks like you don't have your poop in a group because you can't even impart to us why your book matters or what it's about. And this is the simplest question you're going to get. What's your book about? Or what do you write about? You have to know this, which means you have to practice. So start with this. Answer the question in 10 or 15 seconds. Hit 3 things clearly: what it's about, who it's for, what people walk away with. That's it. What it's about from a high level, who it's for from a high level, and what readers walk away with. Question number 2 that you must be prepared for. This is the most boring question that you should never answer directly. People love to ask, how long did it take you to write this? This question helps no one. It reduces your work to a timeline. It forces you to answer the question in a way that reveals that you either wrote it too quickly or too slowly. So don't answer it. Instead, reframe it into something meaningful. And that's your job. You have to be prepared for this boring question because the interviewer doesn't know anything about your book, especially if you're at an event where there are multiple authors. They have not read your book. They just met you. Even if you're bumping into someone at the mailbox, they haven't read anything. So don't think that they're already going to know. So when people say, how long did it take? You can help them by reframing the question. It's your job to turn a dull question into a moment of clarity. Show the thinking behind the work so that you can give the listener something they can use and position yourself as someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Here's how you pivot. I call this a bridge. In my speaker training, which you can get by joining my Visible Authority program, and you can learn all about it on my website, lanelit.com, you can learn to bridge away from a boring question or even a question you just don't want to answer, and instead restate the question that sets you up for success. So here's what you say. A lot of people want to know how a book comes to life. And what I wanted to spend time on was making sure the reader felt seen and capable and not confused. I wanted her to understand her brain and finally feel like she wasn't the problem. That intention guided every choice I made, from the research I conducted to the interviews I led and the deep dives I had to take to build this book to what it is. What started as an educational guide really became a book about identity and strength. That's just a more interesting response than the book took 4 months or 9 months or 10 years, because who cares? Here's why reframing the question works, because you give the listener something they can use and position yourself as someone who knows exactly what they're doing, because you do. Your answers to these questions rely on the same foundational messaging that your bio should have, your website should have, your main speaking points should have. You should keep all of this in one place. And that gives you repeatable power language that keeps you clear in every interaction and interview. Everything becomes easier with clarity. Here's one extra tip. If you go to any book description on any retailer site, you will see every book has one line that says what this book is about, and it's not about the plot. It's usually the first line, sometimes bold, or the last line. It's really empowering, and it's answering the question, why should we care about this? That's really the question you're answering. So prepare these 2 questions. What's your book about? And how long did you take to write this? Which is really, tell us more about what this book is about. Keep your responses short, because when you're concise, you're clear. Record yourself, listen back, or you can record yourself on Zoom or Loom. Both of these things are free. And you can take a look at what really lands. and what's easy for you to say, especially if you have a Maryland accent like I do. Sometimes I need to practice something before it really lands. This becomes your anchor language. You can do this. You've got this. I would love to see what you're doing and learn what you're writing about, what your book is about, and why people need to care about it.